Coming up on today's show.
Yes, there's so many resources out there that you can utilize to help you alleviate everyday stresses of life.
You're trying to just think of every possible thing that they need to have done, and is that kind of the model that you would follow, something like that?
But if something's going to take more than 30 minutes or an hour, then you should probably outsource it because your time is valuable in other areas of your life. And so there's, when we're looking at the list, I go through and I say, okay, what can we do? How can I alleviate the stress here?
The importance of achieving work-life balance today on Keeping You Organized. Hello, welcome to Keeping You Organized. This is a day when everybody is wondering, how am I ever going to achieve work-life balance? I mean, it's kind of that age-old question. I'm working too much. I don't have enough time for life. And so we're going to kind of give you an angle on that involves outsourcing some of the things that are going to give you more of your life back. So we're going to bring on a new podcast guest, Amy Vance. Amy, welcome to Keeping You Organized.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, great. Now we're going to talk about your business in a little while because you've got kind of maybe a little twist on the typical professional organizer model. But this issue of work-life balance, tell us about how you run into this regularly with your customers.
Absolutely. So I get calls all the time from clients that are telling me they have a long to-do list and they just don't know how to get it all done. So it's a common problem, whether you're a busy professional, a mom, a single parent, whatever your situation may be, everybody runs into these problems on day-to-day life.
Right. Do you think people come to you say, I'm really disorganized, when maybe it is kind of like I'm doing too much versus I'm not really organizing the stuff I have? I mean, do you see the nuance there?
Absolutely. So I think people just take on so much responsibility, and more people are yes people than no people. And so we overcommit for a lot of things, myself included. So outsourcing, helps to, do the best with those commitments.
Right. It's really funny. The other day, my wife said to me, she goes, "You're going to be really proud of me." I go, "Well, why?" She goes, "I said no to 2 things," and the power of no sometimes really is a strong thing. But I think what we're talking about today here is not necessarily saying, no, I'm not going to do it at all, but maybe I can find somebody else to do it. Is that kind of where we're headed here?
Absolutely. Yes. There's so many resources out there that you can utilize to help you alleviate everyday stresses of life and, just make things go smoother.
Yeah. So when you go in and meet a client, do you kind of just say that, let's take a look at, they may say, oh, my house is a mess, or, this needs to be organized, but do kind of back up and say, hey, well, let's look at everything here, not just the house, and find out why this is the way it is?
Absolutely. So we try to take the big picture of everything. So when I first do an initial meeting with a client, we go over all of their questions and concerns and what they need to do, and what's just been lingering forever. So it could be something simple as, I just need to take my dry cleaning, to something more complex. I need to have the sprinkler repairman out here, or I need to reorganize my whole entire closet because I can't find anything to wear,
Right. So now, the popular writer, David Allen, Getting Things Done, yes. He has do the mind dump kind of. So it sounds like what you're doing is you're trying to just think of every possible thing that they need to have done, and is that kind of the model that you would follow, something like that, where you do an initial, just keep brainstorming. Is there anything else, right?
Yes. So we do brain dump of everything that has to get done. And then I try to see, based on what they have, what areas of their life can they outsource? Would it be cheaper? Because sometimes, for you, if a task takes less than 5 minutes, you should just, do it, because it'd take longer to explain to somebody. But if something's going to take more than 30 minutes or an hour, then you should probably outsource it because your time is valuable in other areas of your life. And so there's, when we're looking at the list, I go through and I say, okay, what can we do? How can I alleviate the stress here? So I can make all these phone calls. You have a whole list of phone calls, but I could do that, instead of you having to sit there and wait on hold and whatever it may be. and just outsourcing the different things like that. If there's a meal service, or maybe you do need to have a different professional organizer. Every professional organizer specializes in different things. So there may be, even though I'm a professional organizer, I don't do hoarding. So if I have a client who has a hoarding issue, I'm going to outsource, or refer somebody else. So
right now, what are some of the more unique things that you've been tasked to do?
Oh gosh!
Don't tell me that you took a dog to get a pedicure. I bet maybe you have. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's nothing that surprises me anymore, because I've seen it and have done a lot of things. But I only do things that are legal and ethical. So I will preface that. And because you'll get a lot of requests for different things, people will try to push limits and see what you will do and what you won't do. But one of the funny things is that one of my clients was growing butterflies, and so she had me go to a restaurant and ask them if I could pick the leaves off of a specific plant, because butterflies loved those leaves, and you couldn't find that plant locally here in Houston for whatever reason. And so that was a very interesting thing to do.
And what happened? Was the restaurant okay with that?
Oh yeah, they're like, sure. Well, I mean, I guess so.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. How about just one more little tidbit like that? Because I love those stories about here's something really wild that you had to do.
Okay, so I have a client that I've had for several years, and he had a personal assistant that worked with him every single day. So oftentimes I come in to assist that assistant from time to time, if it's a higher level type of thing. And so his assistant, they had a conference in Atlanta, and she was supposed to have arranged a party for 300 people on a certain budget. And she ended up leaving a week before the conference and did nothing, 3 days before the conference and did nothing. So he called me in a panic to try to find an event that would hold 300 people under $3,500 within 2-block walking distance from their hotel in downtown Atlanta. And we made it happen all within 12 hours. And it was kind of a miracle that it got pulled off, because it was, I had called a DJ to be booked, and he referred me to a caterer or somebody who referred. It was just a big circle of referrals that I got to, but we finally pulled the party off. And under budget too. So,
well, that's exciting stuff. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the process and how you kind of pick again, like what should we do, what shouldn't we do, and some of the conversation that goes behind that, and then maybe look at some of the successes as well. So we're with Amy Vance talking about using outsourcing to help you achieve work-life balance, and we'll be right back. New solutions for your desktop from MyOrganize.life. Fall is a time for a change in colors, and now you can brighten up your desktop with organizing products from MyOrganize.life. Colorful, fresh, invigorating. Give your desktop a new look with new desktop solutions from MyOrganize.life. That's MyOrganize.life. MyOrganize.life. We're back now on Keeping You Organized, talking about how to use outsourcing to achieve a work-life balance. We're with Amy Vance. And Amy, before the break, you've given us a couple good examples of some of the more unique things that you've done. But I'm kind of curious. I want to dig a little bit more into the process of how you prioritize and kind of what's going on in the client's mind. Because if they're overwhelmed, is it very easy for them to prioritize themselves, or do you kind of have to take them through some exercises?
So we have to go through, no, it's not easy to prioritize. That's kind of why they call me in a panic. Like, I'm just done and I need help. So, I help them prioritize. I look at everything that they have going on that list, and what is the top priority? So if it's dry cleaning, do you need this dry cleaning for an event, tomorrow? Okay, if not, no, we can put that off, but something else, like I just had a water leak last night, hopefully the plumber was already called, but sometimes, I get calls in a panic, like, help, I need you to schedule somebody to be out here, and that type of thing. So, taking your list and seeing what is, what's going to be immediate, what could be put off, slightly, if there are due dates on things. So if I'm working with corporate clients, a lot of times they have, deliverables they have to have by a certain date. I think just like everybody at some point. And, we try to get those prioritized first, and then get, the stuff that can be pushed a little bit, those could be the last on the priority. There's, when we're working on big projects, there's always like little smaller projects within those huge projects. So those little smaller projects can be, set aside. So, if we're doing a big closet organization, but then we come across a big box of photos or something, well, that photo organizing is just a sector of the big closet organization project.
Right. So now let me just get this right. So if you're dealing with someone, I suppose there's two kinds of clients. Those that are happy, they'll give you as much as you can take, and there's probably others who say, well, I should probably do this myself. Like I should probably make that phone call. But so how do you kind of get them into the phase of understanding that some of the things that they believe that only they should be doing, that you can help them do?
So I kind of break it down by time of how much we look at the time they will save, versus if they just put it on me. So if somebody wants to call the cable company to get something, out there scheduled, they don't want to be put on hold, but they really think that they need to handle the account stuff, but they already know what they want usually. So I try to put it in perspective. Do you want to be sitting on hold for 30 minutes potentially? Or you could just have somebody else do that for you. And they'll try to multitask, but then when you multitask, oftentimes you forget certain things. Right. So, trying to really coach them and see what, there's certain things that if they need to write a handwritten note, they'll have to, do that usually, even though I do write many thank you notes for clients, but there's certain clients that really want, they know what they want to say. So, yeah. And they know what they receive.
Yeah, I was thinking about, in a general organizing project, you'll go in there, you get them set up, but then there's always like a maintenance piece. So how do you work on a maintenance level with people afterwards? Maybe you've got the fires put out, you've got some good structure, but they still have a lot of commitments. Do you have kind of a maintenance plan that follows as well?
Oh, absolutely. So maintenance plans are something that we do all the time. So I usually do. So I have different clients. Some want it weekly, some want it monthly, some want it quarterly, and some want it yearly. Those are usually the 4 different types of maintenance plans that are most common with us. And we're happy to, do it any other way that a client wants. But I schedule maintenance plans when we finish a big, huge project. So if it's an organization project, then we set up a maintenance schedule. So next week I have a maintenance client. We'll do it seasonally. So if we're doing switching out closets for spring and fall or whatever it may be, we do lots of maintenance. And I recommend clients doing maintenance because you just need a refresh and a reset. So you're not going to be there or hopefully if you're doing a maintenance, you're not going to be there that big, huge chunk of time. It's just a smaller chunk of time to help you maintain. And the more maintenance you have and the more regularly you do it, then it'll be easier to maintain and live a hopefully stress-free life. So
yeah, ideally that would be the way it is. Let me ask you this. Now, do you have a team of people? Do you ever outsource to other people to help you, or are you doing all this work?
So I do on the organizing side, I am involved in almost every single client project. Okay. I prefer to do all concierge stuff right now. But on the organizing side, I do bring in team members to help with certain big projects because we have a lot of huge projects that do need multiple team members to get it done faster and quicker so we can move on to the next client.
Right. Well, let's paint the ending picture. How about a couple success stories? And however that may manifest itself from some customers maybe who have seen the light, done it, and now have more balance in their life. What would they say to you or say to us if we were to ask them about how it worked?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't have Amy in my life sooner. That's usually the feedback that I get. But a lot of clients, so many of them I have worked with for going on 10 years, and they just see the value in it and how much stress has alleviated from their life. And so, I could give you an example of yesterday. I had a client who sent me a text message, and I've worked with her for many years. She's a busy traveling professional. And she sent me messages. Hey, I need you to book this restaurant reservation. I need to send a gift to my mom. Also, when you get a chance, when you're at the house, can you do a reorg of my master closet? It's kind of gotten out of hand the last month. And I just take that and get it done. So she doesn't have to be there. So she just sends me a list of tasks, and I get tons of emails and calls and text messages like that with my regular clients.
So it sounds like they give you the keys to their house even, huh? And then you just go in and you can do the work even when they're not there.
I have many keys to many houses.
Great. Well, listen, we're just about out of time. Before we go, let's talk a little bit more specifically how you work, how people can get a hold of you, and maybe some of the services that you offer.
Sure. So you can find me at ecomodernconcierge.com. So my business is Eco Modern Concierge, and we do professional organizing and personal assistance for people who just don't have time to do it or don't want to do it. And we have been in business for 14 years.
Yeah. And you're mainly in the Houston area. Do you do anything virtually though?
Yes, we do some virtual. So we are mainly in Houston, but I have clients that reside primarily in other states. And so maybe I only see them once a year, maybe I never see them, and we do everything virtually. So it's a lot of, depending on what it is. So it's some productivity work, some personal assistant tasks.
Great. Well, I'm sure Leanne's in the back room saying, how can we outsource John's job so, we can get this podcast done without him. But anyway, we'll maybe discuss that at another time. But Amy, thank you so much for appearing today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, folks, there you go. I mean, now you can have work-life balance, right? Simply just outsource a little bit of that stuff you don't want to do. And then maybe if you do that, you'll have more time to come back for our next episode of Keeping You Organized.